Okay, my name is Jose Molestina. My studio is Journey Studios, and I draw comic books. This is my first attempt to make a tutorial based on the daily challenge that I'm doing right now. The daily challenge consists basically on drawing a DC comic books character every day for 2014. It's a big challenge, and right now I'm doing the 95th character, which is Tomorrow Woman, and I'm gonna explain a little bit of the process I do when drawing these characters. So let's see. First, I start with a gesture drawing. This is basically normal gesture drawing. Regular is very loose. Of course, I have some reference. I'm looking at the other screens, and I have some poses, but I tend to modify them a bit. It's not built in stone. It's like I just try to make the feel of a very dynamic pose. So now what I'm doing is on another layer, I just try to build the skeleton. Not the skeleton as bones, but just like the mannequin, cylinders, just trying to figure out the proportions, if something is wrong, something is off. And in this particular case, it turned out to be not as bad as I thought. So, of course, I make some corrections now and then. Like, for instance, this hand, I just modified them a bit. Now, of course, I said it. Always save it. Save your work. Now what I'm doing is on another layer, I'm going to start drawing with my pencils. Of course, I use digital pencils. I use my Cintiq and this software, which is Manga Studio, which is the best in comic book drawing, actually, uh, for my taste. And I think everybody agrees who have used them, this software. And in this case, of course, I picked up some references. I tried to use some common design of an artist, which I find, it's my personal taste, which I find the most iconic for each character. So in this case, I'm drawing Tomorrow Woman, and there's not much reference or more changes in the uniform, but basically I use the Morrison era design by Howard Porter, I think it was. In this case, I tried to do some rough pencils, but in this case I don't know why, but I felt like doing a little bit more tight for this demonstration. And I fixed, as you can see, I fixed the arm, which I found it a little bit lengthy compared to the body as a proportion. And I started adding details, some reference of shading, sculptural shading. In this case, I'm thinking the light is coming from above to the right, but also I take some liberties with the shading. I wanted to look not correct, but dynamic, cool. I like. I'm gonna do the final stages. Well, not the final stage, but the most important stage, which is the inking stage. As you can see. I changed the head a little bit because I thought it was too small. Now it's probably better size compared to the body in proportion wise. The inking step is very important because it's basically where you can show your work. Is all this decision about shading and it has to be not precise. It can be loose, but of course all lines are precise, are thought, are very there's a decision making in the process, and of course you gain that by experience, by doing it a lot. And in this case, my style is very precise. I really like cross hatching. I really like shading. I really like black and white. I could leave it like that and I'll be satisfied. But of course, I'm gonna add some color because it gives more like a finished product. No, in this case, I use, like I said before, I use Manga Studio, which is the best software for replicating the inking stage in comic books, in traditional inks. And I tried using Photoshop. I tried, of course, I've learned how to ink traditionally, but when I when I changed towards digital work, I found this program, this software, to be the best way in replicating inks, and still is. I'm very comfortable with this software, and I highly recommend it. Well, in this case, like I said, I try to be very precise with my cross hatching, with my lines. Everything is thought out. Not everything is planned. Sometimes you get great results just by making a mistake, but that's that's the artistic process, right? And now, well, I'm trying to add some details. Some of them are not gonna stay that way. I'm gonna change them a bit, like the hand. Still, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna change it later, but that's the only like the most trouble that I had with this figure so far. And now, the cape, basically it's just it's not random, but it's more loose. You know, you can add some shading, some lines, but basically this I'm pretty satisfied up to this point to this with this drawing. In other cases or other drawings, you just wake up and you just can't draw. It's just as simple. But this time it was just it was very I was very satisfied soon rather than later. In this case, what I'm doing is the flatting stage. I'm just using the lasso tool and making some flats. It's a basic coloring, which I tend to like because it assimilates. You know, it looks like the way comics were, you know, in the 70s or 80s, and of course there's a lot of rendering now with shading, with effects, but in this case, even though I could do it in this challenge, I try not to, because it's just too it takes too much of the time, which I rather focus on pose, on gesture, on inking, and of course it's also I spend a lot of time in the background, but you're gonna see that later. Here, of course, I try to finish all the flatting, and now I'm adding a font, which is a saucer. I think it's the name of the font, from blambot.com. But now this is the part that I use trial and error, which I combine some backgrounds. I use some very big backgrounds. I combine them using overlay, using screen functions, which I could put more work into it, more explanation in it, but it's just it's for another video. In this case, I'm just trying like colors, and I'm pretty satisfied with that magenta in the title. And of course, I just erased a little bit of the muscle lines, because it tends to be it makes her look a little bit bulky, like masculine. So I want to try to look her more feminine by erasing those lines. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. You learned something from it. Like I said before, this is my first attempt. I hope you enjoyed it. This is not the best way to do it. It's not the correct way to do it, the right way. This is just my way, and it's just to show you how it's done, and maybe you can learn something about it. Thank you very much.